Hi, my name is Alex Rodriguez with Poolsmith Technologies, and today I'm going to be discussing Organic pH, our CO2 pH control system for residential homes. This video was designed to help our customers with some helpful hints before they decide what size unit to purchase. As you can see on our website, we have triple 20-pound tanks and we have triple 35-pound tanks. On our website, if you punch in how many gallons you have in your pool, it'll give you an approximation on how much time between refills. But the first thing you got to do is determine how many gallons you have. A lot of people don't know the formula, so we're going to give it to you. You might want to write it down. But the first thing you want to do is determine how many gallons of water you have. It's going to be length, so the length of the pool from the furthest point there's water to that furthest point there's water, and the same with the width. So it's going to be length times your width times your average depth. So if you have 6 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet, add those three up, divide them by 3, it's going to give you your average depth. And then you're going to do length times width times your average depth, and then times 7.5. That's going to give you your amount of gallons. Now that we've determined how many gallons your pool is, this is the reason why it's important. Obviously, to determine what size system you're going to need. But for example, this customer right here has 18,000 gallons. He has a spa with a spillway, and he has a waterfall feature here that runs a waterfall over the grotto. Now, the reason why that's important is because if this customer was running this waterfall while he's cleaning his pool, he's gonna gas off a lot of that CO2. So instead of using an 18,000 gallon setting, he might run a 30,000 gallon setting because the CO2 is gonna be gassing off at the surface. That happens with any time the water's aerated. So if you have a negative edge or an infinity edge, you might want to consider that. The spillways that are designed on most hot tubs to spill into the pool, it's really not going to make a huge factor as much as the waterfall will, or some type of aeration or water feature. This customer right here has 18,000 gallons. Okay, now that we determined that, we talked a little bit about the negative edge, the waterfall, how you're going to need a little bit higher setting. And what I mean by that is this. So if you look online at poolsmith.com or organicph.com, on our pricing and product page, you're going to see two options. Okay, there's going to be an option for triple 20-pound tanks and triple 35-pound tanks. The difference is the 20-pound tanks are about that high, size of a scuba diving tank. 35-pounders run about that big. The big thing is more storage of CO2. But let's take this specific customer, for example. He has an 18,000 gallon pool. He would have a 192 infusion setting, which is the 3-digit setting you set on our code, and a flow rate of 2.5. That would get him approximately about 6.5 months between refilling those 20-pound tanks. If he did the 35-pound tanks, he's gonna look at 11 months. But here's the interesting part. This client decided to go with 3 20-pound tanks. This pool's been in the ground for about 15 years now, okay? His actual setting is at 120. 120 is for 10,000 gallons. So for him specifically, those 3 20-pound tanks, instead of lasting him 6 months, they're gonna last him closer to 10 months to 11 months. The reason why is the pool's been in the ground for a long time. It does not have a high requirement for acid because of high pH, so it's not gonna have a high requirement for CO2. So again, we installed this system, we put it on a recommended setting for 18,000 gallons, and we came out and his pH was at 7.0. So we started dialing it back, and right now, he runs it at a 10,000 gallon setting, which is a 120 setting with a flow rate of 2, and he's getting a 7.4 pH every single day. I wanted to touch base on the cylinders, okay? A couple of things to remember when you're ordering your cylinders. Number 1, you want them to be aluminum. Number 2, you want them with handles, collars that protects it all the way around. And then number 3, you want them with no siphon tubes, okay? We're using the gas, we don't want to siphon the liquid out of there. So that's very important to remember when you're ordering them, okay? If you want to search before you purchase around your area where you can get them refilled, you can get them refilled at any welding supply company or any beverage supply company. You simply say, hey, what is it going to cost me to refill my 20-pound aluminum cylinders with CO2 or 35-pound aluminum cylinders with CO2? And one last thing, you can drop them off and they can fill yours back and give them to you. What you don't want to do is exchange them. Don't exchange your aluminum ones for steel ones. We don't do steel cylinders on our system. The steel cylinders with CO2, they're heavier, and over time they tend to get a little rust on the inside, and that clogs the injector that puts the CO2 in the pool. So strictly aluminum. So either they swap you out for aluminum tanks or they just refill yours and give them back.